It is 2023 and it's time for a change. I'm not just talking about changing the routine and doing something new. What I am speaking about is adapting to your environment and adapting to yourself. 2023 is a year of change and growth and development and realization. But we can't understand what's going on because we're so caught up in the past. We're so caught up in 2022, but guess what? 2022 has already left. This year is 2023, and the title of this segment is New Year and New Changes. Why is this the title? Because a lot of times as we're going through life, change has to be accumulated, right? New year, new change. Now you know they're saying new year, new me. Nah, 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 nah. That saying is out the window now. Out the window now. Simply because as it's a new year, we have to learn more about who we are and who we want to accomplish. See, the thing about life, you have to put the time and effort to understand that. You dig what I'm saying? New year. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Yeah, I spelled that wrong. New year, new change. Listen, life is going to hit you, and when it hits you, it's going to knock you down. But as it's knocking you down, you're learning so much while you're on the pavement. You're learning so much while you're embarrassed. A lot of times, we need to get embarrassed in order to figure out who we are and who what we can handle. 2022 was the rough year for me. Not only was me and my wife going through a hard time, we had to figure out who we were. Not only did I got to get out the military, I had to adapt to my current situation. Not only did I move from California back to my hometown, which is Arkansas, I had to learn that everything was gonna be okay. But every moment that I'm in and I'm present in, I'm learning more about myself and what I'm able to handle and not handle, what I'm becoming, who I'm becoming, why I'm becoming this person. The person I'm becoming today is because of 2022. It's because of 2021. It's because of 2020. It's because of 2019. See, our past makes us who we are, but we have to identify what this past is. A lot of times we're so caught up in the moment, we don't understand why things are happening the way that they're happening and or the time and place that it took place. But here's the thing about life. It's not going to stop happening. It's not going to stop happening. You have certain moments in life where you have to figure out what you want to do and why. There is going to be hard. It's going to be new. It's going to be overwhelming. It's going to be stressful. It's going to be all these things. But you have to put the time and effort to figure it out for yourself and start growing. Because as you growing, you learn more about yourself. As you're growing, you learn more about your pain. As you're growing, you learn your trauma that you've been shying away, running from this whole entire time. What does this do for you? Okay, what did it do? What did it do for me? It taught me that every time we encounter a new obstacle, something's happening. Right? As me and my wife was going through a hard time, this change that was happening was that we had to learn more about ourselves. And it was difficult because it broke my heart so much. But I needed my heartbreak in order to start growing and identify the person that I am. If we didn't go through what we went through at the time and place and moment and year, we wouldn't be present today. Like I said, 2022 was so hard because I had to learn how to adapt to adversity after adversity after adversity. It was overwhelming. It was painful. It hurt me so much. It was very disheartening. I love my wife. I still love my wife more than anything. 2022 taught me that as you're present in the moment, never forget about yourself. We was married for 2 years, and the entire 2 years, it was great. It was phenomenal. I thought it was, right? I thought it was. But the thing that I learned is that when you really don't understand what you're doing, you do the best that you think you know how to do. Right? My dad didn't teach me about relationships. The only thing that he did tell me was which was great advice was know when to walk away. Know when to walk away. I didn't understand it when he told me this, but know when to walk away. Right. So back in our within our relationship, things was happening in the beginning phase of it was good. It was Danny. It was. We was in the moment. But what a lot of people don't tell you what relationship consists of is that it takes time, understanding, and growth. If something's not happening along the growth for you both is going to end. It's going to be hard. It's going to be reckless because a lot of times what's happening is that we don't understand the dynamics of a relationship. New year, new change is simplifying the concept of growth and identifying what you need to do in order to change. In order to change, but we can't do that if you don't know how to. So as I was with my wife, she taught me how to change and adapt to another person rather than adapting to myself. New year, new change. You have to adapt to yourself. New year, new change. Adapt to self. The reason being is because a lot of times as we're going through relationship with life, we have to put ourselves first. My relationship was good. It was phenomenal. It was amazing. It was hard. It was disheartening. It was heartbreaking. It was all these things that accumulated into one. But what happened? We had to learn more about who we are. I didn't love myself. I didn't know how to love myself. I didn't know the importance of it. So when me and my wife started dating back in 2019, we got married in 2020. I didn't understand what goes in behind a relationship. I just thought, all right, cool. My wife, I'm your husband. You feel me? Let's be together. But the thing that a lot of people don't tell you is that if you adapt to yourself, you're able to adapt to your partner because when you know who you are as an individual, you're able to learn more about this other person. And it's hard. The reason why we ended the way we ended is because of lack of understanding, communication, growth, being present. People don't tell you the dynamics of a relationship unless you start asking the right questions at the time that you need to ask. When I was going through what was going through in 2020, I didn't know how to ask for help because I was never taught how to verbally say I need help in this area and this is why. I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know communication was proper. I didn't know how to verbalize my internal thoughts. But as I'm going along the process, it just we're just ending bad, right? Lack of communication, lack of understanding, lack of verbalizing, right? But the best thing that I've learned while going through this heartbreak was to adapt to myself. When we started dating back in 2019, I put her first. I loved her so much, I started putting her first, which is good, but it's bad as well. Because when you put somebody first so much and you forget about yourself, you have nothing to offer this other person because you don't know what you can offer. And it took time for me to learn this concept because I took time and invested in myself and why things happen the way that they happen. Fast forward to 2022, fast forward to 2022, we went our separate ways. Heart was broken, get it back. You hit it on the glass shattered. What is happening? I have to pick up the pieces to a new identity for myself. Because as I'm healing, I'm learning. As I'm learning, I'm growing. As I'm growing, I'm identifying who Terrell Humphrey is. If you're getting value from this so far, hit that subscribe button hit that subscribe button so YouTube could push the algorithm of this video to other people that need help identifying new year and new change and identifying themselves and adapting to who they want to become. Adapting is hard. It's hard because it's new. It's new because we ain't ever done it before. Again, I was raised by a single mom. My mom didn't teach us how to adapt to ourselves. She taught us how to be independent, but she didn't teach us how to adapt to ourselves. Which I'm not blaming her at all. She did a phenomenal job raising 3 boys by herself. But you can only adapt to yourself when you understand why you're adapting to who you're becoming. But I didn't understand that during the time. My feelings was hurt. I was emotionally drained. Like you, I struggled with finding myself. I didn't have a purpose. I didn't have a dream. And I was just lost. I was depressed. Not only was I depressed, I had to find out how to heal. So here's the thing. I created 10 tips to shift your mindset because if your mindset is not right, things will be overwhelmed. My new book is out and it's called Master Your Mind. 10 tips to shift your mindset. If you want a new copy to learn more about yourself, to learn from somebody that went through what you're currently dealing with, click this link down below. Click this link down below because the story is so impactful, because it's gonna demonstrate to you that you're not the only one. You're not the only one that was depressed. You're not the only one that was heartbroken. You're not the only one that felt lonely. When you learn from other people, you're able to grow because you're able to see and put yourself in their position. Again, I created a book, Master Your Mind, 10 Tips to Shift Your Mindset. In order to get the book, you have to click the link that's going to be in the description. Click it, get it, read it. And please let me know. Please leave a review on how this book made you feel inside and how you're going to use the tips to implement in your everyday life. I'll see you there. I wasn't present. I didn't understand. And this became a factor. It became a factor because now how can I adapt to myself if all this adversity is piling on top of each other? That's when you start to grow. That's when you start to learn. When you adapt to self, you're starting to learn more about everything that you need to deal with. That's my next point. Learning everything that you need to deal with, become a student of life. Become a student of life. Notice I didn't say become a student. I say a student of life because every time I encounter somebody new, a new situation, a new time, a new event, I'm always learning from my environment, from people, from the conversations, because I'm constantly asking questions that will help me grow. I'm constantly learning how to communicate what I want to learn in a fashion way. But I can't do that if I don't understand what I'm asking. I went to this relationship circle a couple of weeks ago, and it was great. It was phenomenal. Okay, I've learned you have to learn how to articulate your questions that you want to ask in the room with a bunch of women. Because if you say the wrong thing, you instantly lose the attention of people. So what my question was it sounded like I was taking up for me. So the woman had said something about cheating or something like that, and it brought up a question. And so I wanted to ask, how come you stay when you have more value than that? But I didn't ask like that. What I did ask is men. How I started the conversation was that men don't know how to communicate. Men don't know how to identify their emotions. Instantly, as I'm speaking, people are getting. I said it the wrong way, which means retaliation came. And when retaliation came, that's when the feedback started to come and start to teach me how to properly ask things. It was a woman that said, "Correct me if I'm wrong, but is this what you meant? Like, how come women don't value ourselves as much as we supposed to?" I said, "Yeah, that is exactly what I wanted to say, but I didn't say it that way." Proper communication entails everything that you're doing because you have to verbally say what you mean. You have to think about what you want to say because as I'm coming out with these questions just gonna fall into the place. But if they're not articulated and understood to where people can understand what I mean, it's gonna be a whole chaos, a whole bunch of chaos. But you have two choices: keep it inside, but don't ask. If you keep it inside, you can't learn from it. I'm sorry, keep it inside and/or ask. If you keep it inside, you can't learn from it. If you ask, you can learn from the question you just asked. Quit being so heavy on yourself and saying I just said something wrong because it wasn't right. You don't know if it's right unless you're willing to put yourself out there to identify if it's wrong. Feedback is the key to life. Feedback is this new year, new change because it's giving you details of how you're becoming and why, of who you're becoming and why. Changing is understanding. Changing is asking questions and becoming a student of life. But if you can't become a student of life, you're just gonna be lost because you stop growing, you stop learning, you stop adapting to self. New year, new changes, learning more about yourself and how can you stick out from everybody else and actually grow into a new version of yourself. But again, we can't do that if you don't put the time and effort to understanding who we are. The last point that I want to say is to be patient. Change doesn't happen overnight. Be patient. Change does not happen overnight. How do I know this? Because when I went through my divorce, when I was going through the heartbreak, it was hard for me to accept everything I was going through because I wanted to be over it like that. I wanted to be over soon as it came, but it hurt me so much that we both was going our separate ways. It broke my heart. I wanted that pain to leave as soon as it entered, but as it stayed over time, I adapted to the pain. Life is going to be hard. It's gonna throw you curveballs. It's gonna throw you sliders. It's gonna throw you flat fastballs. If you're willing to swing at every ball that look good, that's not a ball on the outside of it, you're able to swing, miss, and maybe seize the opportunity. You don't know what you can't hit. You don't know what you don't take a swing at. You don't know if you never step forward and put effort in trying it. Being patient is deals with everything with change because change happens over time. You can't wake up overnight and be somebody else. You can't wake up overnight and be a new version of yourself because you don't know how it works. When I started my journey back in 2020, August of 2020, I wanted to be a billionaire. I'm sorry, a millionaire. And as time went on, September of 2020 came. I wasn't a millionaire. Two lessons I've learned. One, I dream big. Okay. I dream big early. I dream big. I do big. Okay. Next thing I learned was that I didn't become the person to make $1 million. I didn't acquire the skills within a month time frame to acquire the $1 million. Time works against you if you're willing to put the time behind it. Time works with you if you're willing to put the effort behind it to develop it. A month time frame. I was supposed to be a millionaire when I never met a millionaire before. That's the thing about life. That's the thing about dreaming. That's the thing about understanding. That's the thing about change. You start to learn what's possible and what's not possible. Overnight success is not there. It's not a thing. What you're seeing today, people really put time and effort to develop this craft. Think about years ago when they really make their mind up and really went all out for the process. That's what you want to learn from the process. What is a process that you went through and how did you overcome it? Because today look good. What about a couple years ago? What about a couple months ago? How were you and how did you adapt to yourself? Changing over time, adapting to self, being a student of life, and understanding that it takes time. Life gives you what you put out. If you're not putting out anything for yourself, it's not going to give you nothing in return. You have to understand that success in yourself takes time. Knowing yourself will create a different outcome for you. Remember, new year, new change means you have to put the time and effort to figure things out as you're going along the process. But you can't if you don't understand who you are. There we go. Who you are. New year, new change means take a change and opportunity on yourself. Learn yourself. Learn from your environment. Learn from your surroundings. Learn your passion. Learn your dream. Learn your aspirations. Learn everything that's about you because what's happening is that you're growing into a new, unique identity.